The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? POSTGAME POD coming to you after the Celtics take down the Minnesota Timberwolves, sweep the season series with another nail-biter, another 118-115 triumph up there at the Target Center. And Jayson Tatum, on a night you don't have Jaylen Brown, no Kristaps Porzingis, no cookies and cream to be found. Jayson Tatum, and with a little help from Derrick White, and maybe even a little help from Neemias Queta, find a way to get the Celtics to a nice win to start this 4-game road trip. A tough, a challenging, however you want to phrase it. It's not going to be easy, and the Celtics certainly found out that on Thursday night. I have to think about the date at this time of year because days blend together. But Celtics starting out on the right foot. And you got to start with Tatum here. So first off, first possession of the game, right on Anthony Edwards. I think Joe Mazzulla said after the game that he wanted that challenge, kind of called for that matchup early, kind of set a tone. Ant had one of his quieter games of the season. Final stat line as I pull it up. 5 of 16 shooting, 15 points, minus 10 overall, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, missed with a chance to send the game to overtime at the buzzer. Celtics did a good job defensively, kind of forcing him to spots he didn't want to go to, didn't let him go to his left hand, except on that final shot, and really frustrated him. But Tatum not only takes on that challenge defensively, but shakes off a little bit of a bumpy start, a poor shooting start, to really impact the game. And, just what Tatum does, quietly getting to 33 points to go along with the 9 assists and 8 rebounds. What I think is impressive, I was going through the numbers after the game, and so 50 total points plus rebounds plus assists. So why does that matter? Tatum is 5th in the NBA, averaging 43.3 points plus rebounds plus assists. Look, this can be a little bit of a murky way to judge the best players, but let me run down the leaders in that category. Number 1, Nikola Jokic, 53.4. Number 2, Giannis, 50.2. Luka's third at 44.3. Paolo Banchero, only a small sample, but he is at 43.4. Tatum, 43.3, right behind him. We'll actually probably nudge ahead of him after this game. And then you've got LaMelo Ball and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tied for 6th at 42.8. So Tatum hitting that 50 plateau, that puts him in pretty elite company here. Only Jokic and Giannis is sort of in that ballpark and averaging that for the season. It goes back to, Tatum might never be the consistent triple-double guy, but he's going to be a guy who consistently flirts with those numbers, and he's going to do it with the loud point total. So I just think we don't appreciate enough how Tatum has started to impact, all these different areas of the box score. And again, a night like this where he's trying to take on a defensive challenge, that should cause a downturn in some of your production elsewhere. But no, still finds a way to get to 33 points. And what's even crazier to me is I'm thinking, all right, a lot of nights he does it quietly because he gets to the free throw line, gets some points there. Tatum shot 2 free throws in this game. I think he missed one too. Yeah, shot 2 free throws. Had one sequence where he got hit pretty hard on the offensive end, didn't get a whistle, went down the other side and complained about it and got teed up. At some point in his life, I assume Jayson Tatum is going to get a superstar whistle. He still very rarely gets probably the calls he deserves for his status in this league. And you can balk and say there should be no, favoritism from referees or whatever, however you want to phrase it. And yet, referees still do not give him the respect of, getting that whistle when contact is there or he is aggressive going to the basket. And so I just thought Tatum really left his mark on this game. Eager to see what the total output was to go through the box score and total it up. How many points his assists led to, the number of potential assists that were out there. This is a superstar kind of game, and this to me is sort of like if you step back, the Celtics need to put their best foot forward on this trip just because they didn't finish December very well. That weird schedule, not playing a lot of quality teams, not playing well against the non-quality teams. And this is a chance to kind of really assert themselves. And now we're going to get into it later in the program about the difficulty that awaits on Friday. But think about it. Tatum here goes out against Ant, dominates that matchup, gets his team to a big win. They've got the game in Houston on Friday, but then day off, and now matinee Sunday against Oklahoma City. The whole buzz about that is going to be finals preview. SGA, I think he even nudged ahead of Jokic for best MVP odds briefly here recently, and it's just going to be a big conversation about the way those two perform in that game. And so if Tatum has a big night that night, let's say the Celtics win that game, now you're going up to Denver. Jokic on the other side, another chance for Tatum to sort of put a stamp on that game. Celtics are deeper than that team, and even though it's altitude and even though it's the end of the road trip, there's a pathway here where, look, we talk about MVP a week into the season. It's you can say it's superfluous to talk about it in January, but it's going to happen. Like, this is just what we do, and for this stretch, especially if he plays the way we know January Tatum can play, he can really inject himself even further into this conversation. Right now it feels like SGA and Jokic are sort of like way up there. Giannis briefly flirted as the Bucks surged. But I really feel like this is a chance for Tatum to wiggle into it. And look, the Celtics got to play better as a team. Part of the reason he probably deserved better consideration last year was how good the team was overall. Now he's doing it with a roster that has been in constant flux, that has not had its top 8 consistently pretty much ever. The preferred starting 5 has been three games where they've had their top 6 completely intact. So despite it all, when Tatum has been out there, and he did have his own little downshift there in December, the team plays at a different level. And one of the case this year is that the Tatum on-off splits have been pretty jarring. Not to the level of Jokic where the wheels completely come off in Denver, but the Celtics have needed JT on the court in order to subsist. And night like this is a friendly reminder of his output. Do you want to get to a couple other things from this game? Derrick White, 13 of his 26 in the fourth quarter. What I love is that, and yet again, what always amazes me is that it seems like Tatum and Derrick White just do it so quietly, where he gets to 26, and at the end I was like, 26 points for Derrick, 10 of 20 shooting, and made 2 ridiculous baskets at the end. One was like a low clock, just to have the presence, kind of had Julius Randle scrambling for a loose ball, got him off his hip, pulled up for a 3. The next one somehow keeps his feet in bounds when any other player would have stepped on the line, and banks in a 3. It was the final bucket for the Celtics in this game. Probably should have been easier from there, but Minnesota did have a last gasp. But Derrick White continues to be just a rock in the fourth quarter. I keep bringing this up, and it's because it just blows my mind. But 2.5 years ago, Derrick White wasn't playing in the fourth quarter. I get it. It took a little time to realize how good Derrick was, and this season, last season, we figured it out, But he's just vital to being steady, to being shorthanded in those moments. Derrick White is a luxury, and it's good to see him kind of turning the corner on a little bit of a December slump. Nemish Queta, 21 and a half minutes in this game, 4 or 5 from the floor. I think he even had a bucket taken away late in that first half. 5 rebounds, a steal, a block. The number that's really jarring, plus 17 in that span. Plus 17 in a game that was decided by 3 points. No one else, I think the next closest was Peyton Pritchard at plus 5 on the Celtics roster. So Queta brought energy, pretty much totally changed the complexion of the game in the second quarter. Got another long stint in the second half and just did good things. Went right over Gobert at one point. Fearless out there. Nemi makes some mistakes some nights, and they're just nights where he just doesn't seem to have it. But, man, his hustle was infectious in this game, and good for him for finding a way to positively impact the game. Part of a real, Celtics didn't go very deep. I think they played 8 guys with, Jordan Walsh getting a handful of minutes in the first half, and he was actually pretty good in those minutes with his defensive energy. But that was really good. Celtics have swept the season series. They did it without Jaylen or KP tonight. Sam Hauser was fantastic in igniting the team after a rocky offensive start. And maybe the most important thing on my little list of random notes, that court in Minnesota with the alternate design was phenomenal. And whoever designed that needs to be put in charge of the other 29 teams so that everybody's alternate court looks that good. And, kudos to the folks up there. All right, here's more from our postgame show.
And Derrick White also had 26 points in this one. He's standing by with Abby back in Minneapolis.
Derrick, playing without two starters in this game, what kind of level did Jayson Tatum go to?
The level he goes to every game, pretty much. It feels like a special player, just makes big shots, does a little bit of everything for us on both sides. So it's always great to be on his side.
You were no slouch either, getting it done on both ends, drawing charges, blocking shots, and coming up with some big threes. What allowed you, and what were you able to take advantage of?
I just wanted to be aggressive. Feel like I haven't played too well the last few weeks or so, and so good opportunity to go out there and get a good road win.
I know the game plan was to sit on Anthony Edwards' left hand. It sounds simple. It's not. How did you guys execute that and keep him largely in check?
We followed a game plan and made him take tough shots, and he's a great player, and so it's fun competing against guys like that.
You guys clearly excited about the challenge of this trip and this month. How big was it to get the win here tonight?
Huge. JT said before the game, we can't win them all if we don't win the first one. So we were one down, and we got to just keep going.
Derrick, thank you. Not a bad way to start.
You got Celtics get the win 118-115 at the Target Center, where we find Drew and Scal. And once again, these two teams, last couple of years, this is just how it goes between them, and another fun one.
Yeah, really good one, Giles. One of the best games we've seen so far this season. I loved what Derrick said to Abby there about how Jayson Tatum said you can't win them all if you don't win the first one. That's a great mindset for this group. We looked at this road trip at the start of the season. We said it's going to be tough. Looks even tougher now that Houston is so good. But the Celtics have proven that they're good enough to do something like rip off 4 wins in a row. And if Jayson Tatum is playing like he did tonight, that is possible.
Yeah, if you look at their net rating on the road, it's like historic levels. So, Jayson Tatum was phenomenal in this game. Not a great start to the game, but from that moment on, he dominated it, and he did it, letting the game come to him, picking on a matchup, going to work the right way, having the stretch, get out in transition. You saw a little bit of block work there, passed the ball extremely well, rebounded, defended. It was an all-around game, and it's just why. These trips, this whole week is going to be a big week for Jayson Tatum. We're going to have to lean on him a lot. We don't know what's going on with Jaylen Brown. Is he going to be back or not? But if somehow, some way you get 3 of 4 and you win all those big-time matchups against SGA and against Jokic, Jayson Tatum starts entering into a different category when it comes to postseason awards.
It's that kind of time of year, too, right? The calendar flips. people talk about MVP 5 minutes into the NBA season, but that could be a time where maybe Jayson Tatum does turn some heads if he plays well in those matchups. Without Jaylen Brown, the Celtics still win this game. And without Kristaps Porzingis, and Neemias Queta is a big reason why. To be a plus 17 in 21 minutes and 30 seconds in this matchup is really impressive.
Yeah, that second quarter, I'm not saying the game can go a lot of different ways. We weren't good to start the fourth quarter, but in that second quarter, when Queta got those offensive rebounds, they led to the Hauser threes. That energy, the defense that Queta played, his length was a factor. That was huge. And I think you can point to every player on this team, because Brown and Porzingis are out, every guy had their moment where they impacted winning in this game.
And I think maybe the most impressive thing, Scal, is Anthony Edwards' stat line. 5 for 16 from the floor, 2 for 9 from deep. 15 points is his third lowest total of the season. Sitting on the left hand, we heard Abby ask Derrick about it, but it's more than that, right? It's got to be consistent and hungry every time.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Anthony Edwards. Minnesota's good. You always want to find out what's going on with those good teams, and I haven't seen a team do that like the Celtics have. If he went off a pick and roll going to his left, they would go way underneath it and make sure they sit on it and force the guy right. So really good game plan for the Celtics. The word will get out in the NBA and guys will start to do it. We'll see how Anthony Edwards responds. He did have that little pull-up midi late in the game, but this might be the book on Anthony Edwards, and he's going to have to figure it out.
He'll have a counter. That dude is special. But tonight it worked out for the Celtics. They win the game 118-115. And, Giles, anytime you win a game where the other team shoots 21 for 39 from three-point range, that is pretty impressive. Good start to the road trip.
The award-winning 24 Auto Group is the easy choice for your next car, truck, or SUV. 11 locations and over 2,000 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock.
Shop the brands you know and love, backed by savings and service you can count on. Plus, buy 3 and get 1 free for all tire purchases, with 11 convenient locations across the South Shore of Massachusetts.
24 has the knack to save you more. Visit us in store or online at 24autogroup.com.
You talked before the game about looking forward to all these games coming up, but this seemed like had a lot of those things you'd like to see. First half, control the margins. This team comes out, they shot 50-something% from 3, and being able to overcome that with contributions really from kind of across the roster. What did you like about that aspect of it?
Just a good team win, a good environment. It was going to be a close game. I thought we did a good job on the game plan. Trying to keep Edwards in check, and their role players hit some shots, but I thought we managed that. Forced 16 turnovers to 4, got more shots than they did. We got to clean up a couple of things, but I thought it was a great team win, good attention to detail on both ends of the floor.
With Jalen and Kristaps both out, Jayson sits to start the second. You're down 7. I think Nimi grabs the offensive rebound right away, gets to Sam for 3, and just kind of set the tone with that group. By the time Jayson comes in, it was flipped already, which doesn't always work though when he's out. What did you like about
really just the way different guys made plays. I thought our rotation as far as Luke, Nimi, and Al at the bigs did a great job. I thought Jordan had a couple of good possessions on Randall, so I just thought that we had some really good possessions details that we were trying to make sure we executed, and I thought the guys made plays.
Yeah, the Nimi out combo specifically, you went to that on the second and down the stretch there. What specifically do you like about when those two are out there?
Just size with their switching. We were able to get some lobs. We were able to, we could get to some different defensive stuff. But on the offensive end, they were switching and doubling, and we got a couple of those help ups. And I just thought that gave us some good versatility on both ends of the floor.
And with Jayson, very strong second half for him, but they threw obviously different looks at him for doubles and single. How did his ability to manage that?
He was great. He was great tonight. His ability to just execute, really just fight for the shot that he wanted. Obviously made some great shots, but I just thought his intentionality on the offensive end was really good. He started the night out on Edwards, which is something that he wanted, and I thought he took on the challenge of that. So he was great tonight.
Is that something he comes to you about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that unusual? What's your response?
No, the guys do that differently, but today it was him, that he wanted to guard him. So, he took that defensive challenge. That's key for us to get to where we want to get to, is him taking that on. So it's a credit to him.
Coach, good night. This is Catedral Deportiva from Santiago, Chile. Derrick White is averaging over 20 points per game in games without Jaylen Brown. How important is this guy for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. When Jaylen or Jayson doesn't play, he kind of plays the whole second and the whole fourth and gets those possessions to where he impacts the game. And then there's nights where, like tonight, he got 20. Some nights he's not the focal point. So he's just big time because he has the ability to impact the game, whether he's heavily involved in offense or not. And I would say our team, Drew's like that as well. I thought Drew was great tonight, just on both ends of the floor. But Derrick's that kind of guy that can just give the game what it needs at any time.
He told me post-game he feels like he hasn't played that well for a little while here. Ooh. Derrick.
Yeah, I'd agree with him.
What did he do, and what do you say to him in those instances?
Just remind him of his greatness. He has the ability to impact the game in different ways. I just thought he was great, tonight, and obviously the shot making, but just his getting us into our offense, making sure the start of the second and the fourth goes the way that it should go, and then defensively his ability to guard different guys. So yeah,
And then Nimi, the hustle plays from him.
Yeah, like I said, him and Luke and Jordan, those three guys add in a different, dimension during the game, made some big-time plays. I think Nimi played more in the second half than he did in the first, but for us to be able to go to different lineups like that helps us.
When you have Jayson Tatum go to the coach and say, hey, I want to match up against Anthony Edwards, what kind of juice does that provide for the team, especially when they don't have KP in the mix as well as Jaylen Brown?
Besides the team, just juice to itself. Because think about it, for the other games, for the most part, Jaylen Brown has been been guarding him and things like that. So since Jaylen Brown is out, your superstar steps up. He says, no, I want that challenge. I need that. I'm not ducking the smoke. I want that smoke. And what that does is it fuels your team, because you see your guy going out here, not only just wanting to get paper on one end and get money and score points. No, I want to also guard the best player that they have. So that does ignite your team. That gives you a little extra jolt, a little extra juice to go out there and do your job a little bit better than maybe you were thinking about doing when you laced them up, because it is in January. It's starting to become the dog days. And so sometimes it's hard to find that motivation. It's hard to find that extra energy, and he gave them a bolt of that energy tonight by doing that.
Jaylen gets a lot of the spotlight because he's publicly said that he wants to be an all-defense guy, that he's taken on the challenge most nights of guarding one of the best scorers on the other side. What we sometimes forget is Tatum, because of his size, because of his versatility, he's such a good defender. And I just looked up the numbers. It's not like jarring, jumping off the page, holding up opponents to 1.5% below expected field goal percentage. But still, considering the matchups he's going against, that's an impressive number. And I just think whether it's the steals, the deflections, his ability to guard different sized players to make it tough for smaller guys, Tatum is a little bit underrated in what he brings defensively. Now, you got to do it all the time, and that's tough when so much of the priority is on the offensive end and what he does on that side. But I do love that in this moment, especially on a big stage against another superstar on the other side, that he wanted that challenge, knowing that Jaylen wasn't out there to take it on and take some of that stress off of him. Tatum needs to do that more often. It's okay to sacrifice a little bit of the output if you can make life miserable for the guy on the other side. And certainly setting a tone on that end contributed to Ant having such a quiet night.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Edwards only putting up 15 points, and we're talking about the Ant-Man, right? 15, and he had that final shot at the end. It was a great three-point shot. It didn't work out for him, but 5 of 16. And the other guys also, God forbid I say step up, elevated here tonight. I won't do it. But when you see even Jordan Walsh, who didn't have, a number, he didn't score the basketball, but for him to lock in defensively the way he did, Eddie, that's what you need when you don't have some of your big guys down low, especially when KP, who can take up space and be that stretch five. But then you have guys like Jordan Walsh do what he did. And then from Sam Hauser, you said it earlier on in the game, what you loved at halftime. You said, I just love that he's able to take the ball, catch, no hesitation, and hit it when he's been struggling from behind the three, and does what he did tonight.
Yeah, I thought our depth was shown tonight. We know we led by Jayson Tatum, but I also thought that Jrue Holiday played well. Derrick White did what he did. We know Peyton Pritchard came in and played how he played for. Hauser played well. Keita played well. Let's not forget about Luke Kornet, what he did. He had his 7 points, from the big man position. And I thought just overall, defensively, we forced 16 turnovers, and we only turned it over 4 times. We took care of the basketball. We turned them over. We rebounded the basketball. We won the points in the paint, 38-25. We did all of the things that I've been asking for us to do to show that, hey, offensively, we're going to be this type of team. And we're deep enough offensively to where any night it could be somebody's night, and for the most part, it'll be Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown's night, right? But then other guys could step up or elevate their game, since you guys don't like to use that word. But for the most part, I think defensively is what I'm looking for, because then you're going to create more opportunities for guys. Hey, why y'all don't like to step up? Because you guys are not in.
Well, is it because
y'all
there's 2 reasons.
One, because y'all not in the video?
Yes, but that is the primary reason.
Thank you. That's what I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, I'm definitely petty. Yeah.
If our video editors could step up and put us in there, we'd be perfectly fine with it.
Every day.
All right, up next, Houston, we have a problem because the Celtics are, as I'm recording this, are probably on a bus to the airport to make a 3-hour trek to Houston for the second night of a back-to-back where they will play a rested Rocket squad, a Rocket squad led by Ime Udoka, who certainly will have a little extra motivation with the team in green across the way. The Rockets are third in the Western Conference, 22-11. Celtics play 2 of the top 3 teams in the West over the next 2 games, over like a 48-hour span, really. So, yeah, this is if we're being honest, this one has schedule loss on it, and that's not trying to give the Celtics an out. That's just the reality. You think back to last year, the Celtics played a front end of a back-to-back against Minnesota. That was an overtime game, but another emotional, grueling game at the Garden. Defeated the Timberwolves that night. Flew to Milwaukee that overnight and got absolutely blasted. Maybe the most lopsided game of the season last year for the Celtics, and well, at least on going that way, they throttled some teams on their own. I remember because I'm pretty sure it was the day Bill Belichick stepped down, got fired, whatever it was, and it was just a weird day in Boston sports, and the Celtics didn't play well. They've got to find something unique to crank it up a little bit. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's Tatum and a bunch of bench guys, and Tatum is just like, all right, putting you guys on my shoulders, and we're going to figure this out. Maybe it's Jaylen Brown's feeling better, but, not a lot of clues about that right shoulder ailment. And, Kristaps Porzingis addressed the media at shoot-around in Minnesota, but sounds like while they're optimistic that it might not be an immediate return either. So, kind of wait and see here. Wouldn't be the worst if guys like Peyton Pritchard and Luke Cornett got a lot of run and brought the energy and matched the intensity that the Rockets will play with. Celtics have got to figure something out. It's just one of those nights where I'd say if I'm Joe, I'm telling. If I'm Ime, I know he's going to be motivated too. But if I'm Joe, I'm going to my deep bench guys and I'm going, look, there's a scenario where we lean pretty hard on you guys in this game. You start thinking about it. If JB and KP are not available, if obviously Al Horford will not play in the second night of a back-to-back, your thing going in already. If anyone else is downshifted, say you decide to rest Drew Holiday or whatever the case may be, that's a lot of pressure on guys like Tatum or White or whoever ends up being out there. They're going to need some help. But I do love the idea of like Peyton Pritchard just totally embracing the opportunity to be a focal point, to get a bunch of shots up, and whether it's in a off-the-bench role or whatnot, because they do love to keep him in that 6-man role. But Hauser, after having a big start in this game, maybe Nebe gets more minutes. Jordan Walsh should certainly play a bunch. I could see this being like a Tillman game and just throwing him in there. These are the moments that you have this depth for. So eager to see how the Celtics try to scheme this up and how they try to find a way to match Houston's energy. I'll try to bring the energy as well. We got Celtics post up tomorrow night, so if you want to come hang out with us, not only will we got pregame to recap this one, then we'll bring you that Celtics Rocket game, post game plus. Then we're gonna do post up, and then we're gonna come in here and I'm gonna try to bring some more energy on the podcast. Hopefully the Celtics play in a way that gives me a little jolt to be my turbo boost when I get in this pod chair tomorrow night. I'll go, everyone, while I'm doing that, you guys go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. I'm going to stop fumbling over my words. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.